call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Harlingen City Commission, which has been duly posted, to order, and at this time call upon Commissioner Frank Puente to lead us in an invocation.
Please. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, as we come to the beginning of our meeting, we thank you for what has been accomplished in the past and what we're about to accomplish today. Help each and every one of us to do our parts to bring the plans discussed to life. May we leave here recognizing you are the God of all wisdom and you are willing to lead us forward. May God bless each person who took the time to gather here today. Let your hand of protection and guidance be on each and every one of these people. In this we pray, our name, Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody to our meeting tonight. I'm glad to have you here. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 2nd, 2019. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Consent agenda items 2A through E. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved, Mayor. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 3, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution nominating DHS Harlingen Hospital Company, LLC, for designation as a qualified business and enterprise project under the Texas Enterprise Zone Program under the Texas Enterprise Zone Act, Chapter 2303, Texas Government Code. Rodell, you've got that.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Commissioners. Valley Baptist Hospital has taken advantage of the Texas Enterprise Zone program several times already. The Texas Enterprise Zone program actually allows for companies that are expanding and hiring new people or who are retaining people an opportunity to receive refunds from the state for sales tax paid to the state. So this is not a local sales tax incentive. This is a state sales tax incentive program. And Valley Baptist has applied for this program, is wishing to apply for another 5-year designation as a project, which would allow them to recoup some of the sales tax that they pay to the state for retaining employees. There's about 1,200 employees currently at Valley Baptist in Harlingen. Of those, about 1,018 are actually eligible as retained employees, and thus Valley Baptist can receive some of the 6.25% that they pay to the state back as an incentive. In my discussions with Manny Vela, the CEO at Valley Baptist, he said it's not going to make or break them, but it certainly helps them in a very competitive market and very competitive healthcare world that they live in to be able to participate in this program. And he was very gracious and thanked the City Commission in advance on behalf of Valley Baptist. And basically the city's role is to review the application, approve a resolution nominating them, and then beyond that, the state governor's office and the comptroller's office actually has to make the decision to whether or not they qualify as a project, and then they are the ones who maintain and coordinate all the sales tax refunds. So our role, your role, is basically the approval of a resolution nominating them into the program. And that's what they're asking for.
All right. Is there, anybody have any questions for
Yeah, if I heard correctly, towards the beginning there, you said this would not affect any cash flow income through the sales tax system to Harlingen.
This is a refund of state
Right.
sales tax, not city.
Correct.
It's the 6%.
This is is not a local sales tax. It's the state portion of the sales tax is the only thing that is in play here, and it's what's refunded to the company. So it's not the local 2%. It's the state. So it does not impact Harlingen's budget at all.
Make the motion for approval, Mayor.
I'll second that.
All right, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, motion carries. Thank you,
Thank you.
Raquel. Item 4, consideration possible action to declare several Panasonic CF30 laptops and related equipment as surplus property and authorization to sell these items to the City of Brownsville Police Department for $2,500 and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement. Chief?
Mayor, Commissioners, these are old laptops that are no longer of any use to us. They've been in storage for a couple of years, and the hard drives have been removed, so there's no information on them, and we're just looking to get rid of them. So we recommend we allow the city manager to enter into this agreement with Brownsville.
All right, anybody have any questions about this?
How many laptops is it?
It says 25.
It said several. They didn't
There's
have a-
actually 26, because one's a CF29 also,
Okay, so we're getting $100 apiece for them,
basically.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a motion to?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thanks, Chief. Consideration possible action to grant a variance with regards to 120 feet of right-of-way required by a major arterial on the proposed replat of Pelican's Peak subdivision located at 505 Ed Carey Drive. Gabe?
Mayor, members of the commission, city manager, the applicant, VIA Real Estate, is asking for a variance to the 10-foot additional right-of-way that's required for Ed Carey. The proposed subdivision is located here on Ed Carey. They're asking to combine, they will be combining 2 lots into one commercial subdivision. Ed Carey is a major arterial and requires 120 feet of right-of-way. In this particular case, the Ed Carey is 90-foot back-to-back. There are no plans to have it widened by TxDOT, so the applicant is asking for a variance for the additional 10 feet of right-of-way required on this particular section of road. Along Ed Carey, only 3 subdivisions have granted the extra 10 feet of right-of-way. The City Commission has granted variances to the 10 feet. The last was on January 19th, 2011. The P&Z considered the request and approved the request. Here is a subject property. Staff recommends approval of the variance based on the following conditions. 1, the request complies with the findings outlined in section 109.27 of the Code of Ordinances. There's a hardship in this case. The area along Ed Carey Drive is developed, which would prohibit acquiring the additional right-of-way needed to expand the existing right-of-way on Ed Carey Drive to 120 feet. There's a case history of the City Commission approving the similar variance request, and the Engineering Department recommended approval of the variance. Staff recommends approval. Be happy to answer the questions you may have.
I wouldn't buy the property today, and there's even a gas line basically on the curb. They would have, if we decided to do that, we'd have to move a gas line on
Right,
top of all
they'd
that.
have to relocate it, right. Well, if they expand Ed Carey.
Right.
The line could stay there unless there's going to be a road construction.
Well, it's actually the service line that comes up out of the ground.
Okay.
And does this eliminate their need or requirement to put in a sidewalk in developing this?
No, they will still be required to put a sidewalk, right? But that's not part of this process. That's part of the building permit requirement, right?
And this is in conjunction with the car wash project?
Yes, this is going to be the location for the car wash.
So why are they needing the extra 10 feet?
No, they don't. They're asking for, under the thoroughfare plan, a major arterial requires 120 feet of right-of-way. Right now, there's only 100 feet of right-of-way.
Okay.
So they would have to give up an additional 10 feet.
Oh, they're giving it.
And yes, and they're asking for a variance to give that up.
Okay.
And at this point, TxDOT is not planning on expanding Ed Carey, so there's no additional need to request the 10 feet. Plus, on most of Ed Carey, the additional 10 feet is not available.
And you'll notice on the drawing, I was going to ask the same question that Commissioner Mesmar. If you go to that drawing,
This one?
it's hard to see, and so my question was the same as his. Is there a sidewalk there? Because that yellow strip basically sits on top of their driveway.
And that's actually the extra 10 feet they would be having to give up.
Right, but so where is the sidewalk there? Because that driveway is basically underneath that yellow strip.
The sidewalk, once we get their plans, would have to be constructed behind, if we ask them to do it, would be behind the curb and gutter.
It would have to be, and the
Right,
curb
now-
and gutter is basically the front edge of that line?
Right, now, there is a sidewalk on the other side of Ed Carey that goes throughout the entire street. So they would probably ask for some sort of, I'm guessing, waiver on that as well. But normally a subdivision comes in, or any type of building permit comes in, and we require sidewalks. But this is something that's to be considered aside from this request.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the variance?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, the motion carries. Item 6, public hearing to consider an ordinance on first reading for specific use permit to allow an adult business, a vape shop in a general retail GR district located at 616 Ed Carey Drive, bearing a legal description of Lot 8, South Point Subdivision Number 1. Applicant is Mario Cardenas Jr. Okay,
Mayor, members of the commission, the applicant, Mario A. Cardenas, is asking for an SUP to install a vape shop, this particular subdivision. It is shown general retail. An adult business is allowed in general retail but requires an SUP. The applicant is currently located at 1418 East Tyler and will be relocating the business to this particular location. The surrounding properties are general retail. There's a family dentistry, family allergy center, and State Farm, to name a few businesses around the location. This is a site plan of his business, and the business would be located right there. The P&Z considered the request and approved the SUP. Staff recommends approval of the request subject to the compliance with the following conditions: obtaining and maintaining the proper state and city permits, maintaining the required parking in accordance with city regulations, providing video surveillance with a 30-day retention, and complying with the requirements administered by the planning and zoning, building inspections, environmental health, fire prevention, and police departments. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have regarding the request.
If we approve this, he still has the other shop open. He'll be able to run both while he's moving his goods over, because that was one question.
Yes, because the other one is there by right and has obtained an SUP.
Okay. So he can continue to operate that one until he gets moved in fully to this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Has that business had any problems with the PD or?
We don't generally ask for that information for a vape shop. We ask that for bars, but for SUPs like this, we don't generally tend to draw that information.
Okay.
Okay, we have a public hearing, which is item A. I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who'd like to speak for or against the specific use permit?
Yolanda Schaffert, 258 Las Palmas. My concern is that this vape shop, I think you should ask the parents, because if you don't have no one to monitor, the place is not monitored. And this vape thing is very, very wrong for the children and for the adults. I know he has the business already going on whatever street it was, and he wants to expand, but I think that we should also monitor it with the police and the parents, get a feedback. What these kids are doing, vaping, that is wrong, very wrong. I'm against it. But then again, he's got the other one. Has he had any problems? It's not monitored by anybody, not the parents, not the police, not nobody. So we don't know what the heck's going on.
All right, is anyone else who would like to speak for or against the specific use permit?
Good afternoon. Ron Lasson. As the corollary was noted by the city manager, our assistant, a couple of years ago, right after the death of a couple of family members, including one that's still present, there was an ordinance in effect to prohibit bars from having smoking. And since that period, there's been vast research that indicates that vaping is not useful for young people. And that was basically the gist, even though one person thought that it had to do with the employees. I don't think she really had spoken to any of them. But that was the gist of that ordinance, that y'all cared about the health of our citizenry. And so I thought it was interesting that, whether correct or not, that corollary of bars having to adhere to a certain standard set by y'all, and yet vape is basically unregulated. I think y'all should look a lot closer at something like this. Thank you.
Does anyone else would like to speak for or against this specific use permit? Okay, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and go to item B, which is the consideration of possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading for a specific use permit to allow an adult business vape shop in a general GR district in the above described property.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have to read the
sorry.
caption of the ordinance
Yes.
first, please.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, ordinance number 16-8 of the City of Harlingen, to issue a specific use permit to Mario A. Cardenas Jr. to allow an adult business vape shop in a general retail district located at 616 Ed Carey Drive, bearing a legal description of Lot 8, South Point subdivision, subject to 1, obtaining and maintaining the proper state and city permits, 2, maintaining the required parking in accordance with the city regulations, 3, providing video surveillance with a 30-day retention of the video, and 4, complying with the requirements administered by the Planning and Zoning, Building Inspections, Environmental Health, Fire Prevention, and Police Departments prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy.
Now, is there a
Now,
motion?
motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, motion carries. Staff is asked to pass item 7, so we'll pass item 7, not ready to present. Item 8, consideration of possible action to appoint an advisory committee composed of representatives from the following boards: Harlingen Chamber of Commerce, Harlingen Community Improvement Board, Harlingen Economic Development Corporation, Parks Advisory Board, Convention and Visitors Bureau, Golf Course Advisory Board, and the Harlingen CISD to review the study prepared by National Golf Foundation. Carlos?
Well, Mayor, good afternoon, Mayor, City Commission. This item is a follow-up to the presentation that Ed Getterall from National Golf Foundation did to you all back on July 2nd. We have presented to you a listing of the different boards here in the city, and at this point, we're asking for your recommendation, selection of those board members that could serve in this advisory committee.
How many is it total? How many do you have total?
The total committees that are being presented to you, or boards, members, are 6. On that second listing, you have the Chamber of Commerce, Convention and Visitors Bureau, Golf Course Advisory Board, Parks Advisory Board, Harlingen Economic Development Corporation, and the Harlingen Community Improvement Board, 4B.
So we're trying to pick one?
Yeah, so what I was gonna suggest, and you can do it, you can kind of do it, we can do it however we want to, but thought maybe we just go ahead and agree to create the committee, and then let each chairman of each of these boards recruit a volunteer, 1 or 2 volunteers for us.
Okay.
Unless you have names that you specifically want to appoint, so it would work like this. We would simply ask the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce to recruit 1 or 2 volunteers to serve, and try to, we can limit those now. If you want to say 2 from, 2 from the chamber, 2 from the golf course, 2 from the Community Improvement Board, and 2 from the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and 1 from everybody else. You can do it that way. You can do it however you want to. But since we don't, unless you all have recruited people from each of these, we might just want to let them, whoever's interested to serve.
Well, one concern that I have is that CVB is a new board, And so the two oldest members of that board, the initial two are Rex Warren and Arnold Gomez. And then on the Golf Advisory Board, I don't think they can even make a quorum anymore.
Right.
And so the longest standing member on this one besides Larry Kraus probably would be Carlos Cortez.
And I would like to see some members of the.
Yeah,
golf-
so I mean, I'm fine if you want to, I mean, I really don't care, I was just giving you.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on like the
Well, I was hoping that we
chamber.
could make sure that we have golfers or from the golf community.
Thank you.
Be representative on that board so they can provide their input, because I don't want to flood it with a bunch of people, I'm sorry, that they may or may not know about golf or.
I agree with you. And that was one reason Carlos Cortez, I know, plays the course daily.
Right.
But he's also a member of the State Board of Fire.
I don't know if the golf course themselves can appoint certain members of the.
Well, and of course, I was really hoping to get, we've kind of heard from the golf community. We've had a lot of input from the golf community. What I was looking for was more input from the business and community, or the community at large, and people in the hospitality and entertainment areas. So
That's
I mean,
why I
I
kinda
think it's
honed
good
in
to,
on
I
those
think we
two.
should have representation, there should be somebody from the advisory board, golf course advisory board. And I actually added the EDC because I thought maybe Mickey Boland would.
Should they golf?
Mickey Boland would want to do it because I know Mickey is a golfer.
He's a
I know
golfer,
Mickey
yeah.
does golf.
Well, as long as they're familiar with the, like,
Yeah,
golf.
so Commissioner Quinton. did you
I
have
just
a-
had a real quick question. If we wanted to make a recommendation to them to appoint people who are involved with golf, being that I'm an avid golfer, I'm just kidding. I just want to know if we can make a recommendation, not us make a recommendation, but if we can throw some names out there that they can consider, can we do that as well?
Yeah.
Or does that
you-
have to
you
be done
can-
tonight?
Well, you can, the proposal is to get people from these groups.
Okay.
And so if you want to try to, I don't know that we've asked any of these, we haven't asked any of these people, so we could appoint, Kyle Orgero from the Harlingen Chamber. He may say, well, I don't want to do it, or I don't have time to do it. So that's why.
And did I'm sorry, did I see the school board as well? Because the school board's not on here.
Well, school board's in the body, is on the agenda. It didn't make this list attached to the staff's narrative. But if you look at the item.
Right.
On item 8, HCISD was added, and I added them specifically because Elijah Hyman has asked me if he could serve on this committee, and I thought, well, and the school district does use the golf course, so it made sense to me that we should include the school district.
Okay.
Well, I agree with you. The only thing I said is just those
Especially
two
since that
boards.
could be a funding source
Yeah.
for improvements to the golf course.
Yes.
Anybody ever thought?
Well, but to Commissioner Liao's
Yeah, no, trust
point,
me, I thought about
the
that.
golf course
Anybody from the
board
school
is
district
very
here?
small.
It's become very small, so I just want to make sure that we don't cripple, the CVB because they're so new, they're still gelling, and the Golf Advisory Board, just, maybe we can say this is who we'd like to see, and if they say no, but we'll go to
Are
Plan B.
are they going to be able to come back with a list before? Can
We were hoping that the commission would pick the committee tonight so that we can move
Well,
and begin meeting.
So if you're not present, then you're drafted?
Well, I will tell you that these board members, in looking at the names,
Yes, sir?
if you ask them, I'm pretty sure they'll serve. We want to go
but
over the
can we-
information. We have the study, we've heard the study. We received feedback from the golfers that was they're part of the study. And at this point, we need to make a decision moving forward. We're about to have our next budget workshop on Friday, so
So are they going to only meet once? Is that the,
we need to set it up probably more than once.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of information.
right,
It's a lot of information.
right.
And the sooner we start, the sooner we can bring something back to the city council.
Okay.
Well, I can give you 5 names real quick.
Okay,
I would put Larry Curse, Carlos Cortez from the
wait,
Golf Advisory.
which,
Golf Advisory Board. Larry Cruz, is that how you pronounce it?
Okay.
Cruz. Larry Cruz.
He's not on the board anymore, right?
He's not on the board anymore? Okay.
He resigned?
So it'll be, I don't know about the other members, Carlos Cortez for sure. And then from the Community Improvement Board, Daniel Araiza. He was on the Golf Advisory Board, recently resigned, but he's also on the Community Improvement Board. Rex Warren, who's in Hotel Motel. And then Arnold Gomez, who's the manager of Sam's Club.
I like the idea of putting Mickey Bowling on there. Mickey Bowling.
I would like to see Mickey on there.
Okay. I would, from the Parks Board, I would suggest Adele.
Okay.
She's, I don't know whether she's the current chairman, but she's been a past chairman.
Chairman right now?
And she also, there's a TSTC connection there as well, so I think should be. And then if y'all want, we know that Eladio Jaimes has an interest, so.
Want to add somebody, I can.
So that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then if you wanted to pick 2 from the chamber, or actually another one, I think another one from the Community Improvement Board, and 1 or 2 from the chamber. I think you ought to have another person from the Community Improvement Board on this committee. You know, and I don't care which.
Jesse Robles, the chairman himself.
He's the chairman. Okay. So what about the chamber? Do we have anybody? Do we know anybody that's interested from the chamber?
Well, you know,
Trey,
Frank, I was saying, Frank is Mr. Customer Service, and
Okay.
I don't know if he has time for us, but I would love to see him on that board.
All right. Well, let's ask him and one other person. That would give us 10. That would be 10. So somebody else from the chamber.
Frank is thinking.
What about Scott? Does that mean he's on there?
Trey.
Can I add Scott Alex to that?
Okay.
Scott? Okay.
Yes.
Scott Alex?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
It is.
Okay, so here, as I understand it, here's the proposal. It would be Scott Alex and Frank Castellanos from the Chamber of Commerce, Carlos Cortez from the Golf Course Advisory Board, Jesse Robles and Daniel Araiza from the Harlingen Community Improvement Board, Rex Warren and Arnold Gomez from the CVB, Adele Clinton, Solis from the Parks Advisory Board, and Mickey Bowen from the Harlingen Economic Development Corporation.
You want to put Ricky Leal on there also? Ricky Leal.
So do that now.
Just make sure you tell them you did.
Okay,
Are we getting too heavy now?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you added Ricky, that would be 11.
11 too many? I'm looking at Dan. Is 11 too many?
Yeah, keep it at 10.
Okay.
I think 10's a good number.
10's a good number.
10's a good number. I didn't realize we were up to 10 when I said that.
Yeah, and I think probably, I think 1 from the EDC is good.
Okay.
Personally. Okay? So is there a motion to invite those 10 to participate and serve?
I'll make a motion to appoint the aforementioned 10 people to this new board.
I'll second that.
Appoint and invite, since we're drafting them, you know,
Yes,
there needs to be an element of invitation. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. We really certainly appreciate these board members possibly serving double duty by also serving on this advisory committee. Okay, item 9 are board appointments.
I have Diana Esparza to Parks and Recs Board.
Anybody else?
I have Sylvia Flores, want to reappoint her to the Community Development Advisory Board, and Tim Elliott to the Golf Course Advisory Board.
Okay. Anybody over here?
I have one, reappointment of Frank Garcia to the Zone Board of Adjustments.
There was a gentleman who applied for the Veterans Advisory
Yes,
Board.
sir.
I was going to bring up, I forgot his
Paul?
application.
Paul, I have to look it up on my, but yes, we have a copy of that. Gentleman's name is Paul, last name starts with an H. I'll give you the name, give me 30 seconds.
For what board is this?
For the Veterans Advisory Board.
Oh, yes, I left.
He submitted the application. I'll turn it into, but I'll appoint that gentleman who submitted the application
Paul
to me.
Heinert, H-E-I-N-E-R-T.
Okay, that's my appointment. Frank has another.
I'll get, I
Okay.
have the application.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Mr. Puente has another one.
I had a couple more on Construction Board of Adjustments. William O'Rear. And Veterans Advisory Board, I have two. Peter Douglas and Teresita Garcia. Wanted to reappoint those guys.
And they're veterans.
Or spouses of, I believe.
Is there a motion to approve the board appointments?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 10 is citizen communication.
There I have Stephanie Dominguez from Brownsville, and it's, I guess it's the Planned Parenthood funding. Stephanie?
Okay, so if you'll please come on, one at a time, please come up and state your name if you've signed up to speak. And give us your residence address, and then you'll have 1 minute, okay?
1 minute, please.
Depending on how many people.
So it's,
Are you speaking on behalf of the group, or?
No, just myself, because I signed up, and then there's other people, I believe, who signed up.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I'm speaking as myself. There's other members who are
Okay.
here, so they should be allowed to speak. So is it 2 minutes or 1 minute?
1 minute. I'm just gonna stop it at 1 minute. That's what you said, right, Lynn?
Yes.
1 minute.
Yep.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Stephanie Dominguez, and I work here in Harlingen. I'm not a resident here. I am the Community Engagement Manager for Planned Parenthood South Texas here in the RGV. We've asked some of our supporters to join us for tonight's meeting to express our concerns regarding last month's special meeting where the Commission voted against Planned Parenthood receiving a CDBG grant. As we express, funds like the CDBG grant allow us to be generous with our patients who otherwise cannot access health care. Unfortunately, the Community Development Advisory Board believed that we should get the CDBG grant, but the Commission thought otherwise, and I just wanted to let you know that we will reapply next year, and in that time, I hope that the Commission is witness to the positive and indelible mark we leave in our patients' lives. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next individual.
Aline Garza?
Hello, committee. My name is Eileen Garza, and as I said last month, I am from the city of Edinburgh.
Yeah, okay, so give us your residence address, please.
So I live in 3115 Zirkin Drive, Edinburgh, Texas, 78541. And I am an advocate for Planned Parenthood, mainly because like I said last month, Hidalgo County doesn't have a Planned Parenthood Health Center because of funding that was cut from the state of Texas to Planned Parenthood. And I understand most of your opinions, and I respect those opinions, but I hope that your children and your children's children don't ever have to go through the struggle of receiving reproductive health care and sexual health education and only receiving that in college, because that isn't fair to them. That isn't fair to their families. That isn't fair to their future. So I hope that next time
1 minute is
Planned
up.
Parenthood is a part of your life and is something that you actually believe in.
All right, thank you very much.
We have Nancy, who's somebody?
Nancy, can you tell?
Hi, I'm Nancy Gunther, and I live at 24336 Preston Trail, Harlingen. And I'm here to support the efforts of Planned Parenthood. And I just want to make sure that you all understand that investing in Planned Parenthood actually saves money in the long run, because giving women really good health care saves trips to the emergency room and pregnancy problems, and it's all, it's not a black and white issue. And I hope you will consider funding Planned Parenthood next time around. And I also want to just express my own slight level of intimidation and discomfort at addressing a panel of all men regarding women's health care.
Thank you.
Joyce Hamilton.
Hi, I'm Joyce Hamilton. My address is 1617 Sunnyside Drive in Harlingen. I wanted to start out by thanking the Community Development Advisory Board for recommending funding for Planned Parenthood in their block grant request, and disappointment in the fact that the Commission chose to remove that one item from the block grant request. The disappointment has to do with the concern that women need to have control of their own bodies, and they also need to have access to information about their own reproductive health and health beyond that. Planned Parenthood does provide all kinds of reproductive and other kinds of health. So it's a really important thing, I think, for going forward, that the Commission re-examine that when it's brought forward to them in the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yolanda Shaffer.
Yolanda Shaffer, 258 Altas Palmas. I'm looking at all men. She said it. You came into the world because of a woman, and that woman took care of her health. And having health with Planned Parenthood to educate the women, we have a lot of deadbeat dads that don't want to pay when a woman gives birth because of an accident or not being prepared with Planned Parenthood. This is not only that, the CBG approved, they applied for 36 and they were approved for 16 something. And all of you took it upon yourself to look at their bodies and tell them they did not have a choice. They have a choice in Harlingen. You should be ashamed of yourselves, all of you. You all are men, your fathers, and deadbeat dads.
That's it, Mayor.
All right. And as you all know, this is public comment. It's not a posted agenda item, so there's no discussion on this or opportunity for the commission to respond. We just listen to citizen communication. That's the last agenda item that we have, so we're now adjourned. Thank you all. Good night.